Hey everyone, welcome to Echoes from the Basement, an X-Files podcast. I'm your host Alice, and each week I revisit a classic episode of the X-Files while sharing my take on the strange and mysterious adventures of Agent Scully and Mulder. And who knows, I might even make a believer out of you. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back. I'm gonna keep pumping out some more episodes. I've just had a busy month. This is also my birthday month, so it's been kind of crazy. I got a new microphone and I'm ready to start podcasting once again. In this episode, it's called Born Again, and we start in a city. The camera locks on to a gray car racing down the street. We are located at the 14th Precinct House in Buffalo, New York. Two men in suits walk into the building. One is holding a brown paper bag. They seem to be detectives or some type of police officer. The two men talk and joke with other cops. Our attention is drawn to a policewoman leaving the station. She has long brown hair and a thick New York accent. The woman turns the corner and discovers a little girl sitting in an alleyway looking sad and suspiciously alone. Like a true officer of the law, the lady approaches the child looking to help her. "You all right?" she asked. "Are you lost?" The little girl nods her head in agreement. The officer with long brown hair takes her back to the police station. She then talks to one of the men from before about how the little girl has said nothing to her. The two officers enter the interrogation room where the child is being held. The man's name is Detective Barbala. "He's going to help you find your family," says the woman from before. The detective says hi, but no word from the little girl. She just stares straight ahead as if she's in her own world. "Well, what's your name?" the man asks. "Michelle," the little girl replies. "Michelle," the detective states. He sits in the chair in front of her. "What is your last name?" he asks the little girl. "My last name is Bishop," replies Michelle. The next question, "Where do you live, Michelle?" The little girl stares deeply into the detective's eyes, not uttering a single word. All of a sudden, a large bang is heard. The other detective from earlier rushes back into the interrogation room where she left Barbala and Michelle only moments ago. She peers out the window, rewarding to see a Detective Barbala laying flat on somebody's car's roof. He jumped. The woman turns around to see Michelle staring at her all along. Mulder and Scully are on the scene. They're talking to the female detective from earlier. She tells the two agents that she heard about them through her brother who worked on the Toombs case. She then explains that Barbala was still a cop. Even if some people didn't like him, he didn't deserve to die this way. "I can't let this rest," the officer says. "You said there was witnesses," Scully interrupts. "A little girl." "What did she say?" "She said there was another man in the room, but there was no man. I was right outside." "So, you never saw who the other man was?" "I swear there was no other man in there," the detective persists. "There is no way a man could have done what he did. The department is stating that this is a suicide, but I believe it's not." The officer brings Scully and Mulder to the crime scene. Mulder looks around and at the window where the man jumped from. He notices that the window wasn't open during the event. "Why wouldn't Barbara open the window?" he asks. "Where's the kid?" he adds. "We released her an hour ago," the detective says. "Her mother came and got her." Scully turns to the female officer. "You don't really think a little girl had something to do with this, right? This kid is different. Something about her isn't right," the detective says. The two agents track down the little girl. "What kind of hair did he have, long or short?" Mulder asks. "Short," Michelle replies. Mulder continues to ask the little girl questions about the appearance of the murderer. They are building a sketch on a computer of the suspect. The agent on the computer puts a funny mustache on the sketch, which makes Michelle laugh. Then the computer glitches out of nowhere, and the little girl gets very serious. The agent writes it off as a glitch in the software, but Mulder believes it is something more. Scully interviews Michelle's mom in the meantime. "Do you know how Michelle could have gotten to the police station?" asks the agent. "When I came home, the nanny was locked in the wine cellar, and then I noticed Michelle was missing and I called the police," the mother says. "Michelle has gone through 4 nannies this year." "What's the problem?" Scully asks. She replies, "My daughter is the problem. She's a disturbed child, and honestly, sometimes she frightens me." "Well, how so?" Scully replies. The mother goes on, "She's different, not like the other girls. She's just off. She has no friends, never smiles, and states that she can hear and see things that I can't. Michelle's mother brings Scully back to the yard where there is a pool. It's covered though. Last year, my husband Jim was teaching Michelle to swim, but every time Michelle would get close to the water, she would start to scream. She would scream absolute bloody murder. Mulder meets Scully and Michelle's mom by the pool. He hands the mother a picture of a man stating that this is the person Michelle saw at the police station. Do you recognize him? He asks. Michelle's mom says no. What about a friend Michelle mentioned? Well, that's Dr. Byrne. She's the developmental psychologist at Braylon Hospital. Michelle is watching over the 3 adults from the window. She's Michelle's psychologist, the mother states. Mulder turns to see Michelle throwing a paper airplane out the window right towards him. It looks like a hawk or falcon, Mulder states. It's called origami, Michelle's mom explains. Where did she learn that? Mulder asks. I have no idea, the mother states, which is entirely weird. How would you not know that your daughter knows how to do origami? The team packs up their investigation at Michelle's home. They meet the agent who was at the computer outside. He's running the picture through the FBI's database. Mulder suggests that him and Scully should split up. Scully would conduct the autopsy on Barbara, and he would go to Braylon Hospital and chat with Michelle's psychologist. One last thing Mulder states, check for lesions or burns on the body. Psychokinesis is linked to electrical charge, which causes those type of wounds. Scully blurts out, do you really think a little girl could have that kind of power? Well, how else would she throw a 200-pound police officer out the window, Mulder yells before getting into his car. We are now transported to the Braylon Psychiatric Hospital. I have no idea who this man is, Michelle's psychologist says after Mulder hands her the sketch. Could Michelle have made him up? Mulder asks. Possibly. Dr. Byrne thinks that her patient Michelle has dissociative identity disorder. This is where a person can have multiple identity states and lost memories. It usually stems from some type of trauma and is used as a coping mechanism. The psychiatrist goes on to explain that my job is to find where Michelle's extreme rage is coming from. But Michelle is very different. I would leave her alone with these baby dolls, and the dolls would be fine when I'm here. But when I would leave, they would come out different. After some time, the baby doll is disfigured in the same exact way. Michelle's anxiety runs deep and elusive. I'm at a loss. Well, have you tried sleep regression hypnosis? Mulder asks. Do you really believe that hypnosis works? Let me know in the comments. Dr. Byrne shuts that down immediately. She wouldn't even consider it. I mean, I understand. I don't think hypnosis works in general, or is generally just frowned upon. Mulder asks, how have you been treating Michelle then? The doctor lists out some medications that she put Michelle on. Then he asks the million-dollar question, have you noticed anything you can't explain with Michelle? Anything unusual? Dr. Byrne looks at Mulder like he is insane. He goes on to list psychic ability, telekinesis, anything like that. Have you noticed anything? The psychologist just looks at Mulder like, are you serious right now? You must be joking. On the other side, Scully is conducting an autopsy on Detective Barbara. She takes the sheet off the body and discovers a large wound on the detective's stomach. This type of lesion is connected to electrocution. Excuse me, Scully turns to see the woman detective from earlier. Can I talk to you for a sec? She asks. What do you think? The detective hands Scully a black and white photo of a man that matches the sketch. His name is Officer Charlie Morris. Where is he now? Scully asks. Agent Scully, this man has been dead for 9 years. This means Michelle has seen a ghost. At the police station, Scully enters while Mulder reads over the file about Charlie Morris. He was killed in Chinatown by a local gang. Scully and Mulder argue about whether or not Michelle saw a ghost or not. A classic conversation between the two, each having their own evidence to back up their claim. Why is it so hard for you to believe, Scully? The evidence is there. Sometimes you need to look for the more obvious and simple answer instead of the extreme one, Scully says. She brings Mulder over to the trophy case, where a picture of Morris is sitting. Michelle walked by here and she saw this face, states Scully. Do you have the police report about Morris's death? Mulder says. Yes. Does it describe how he was murdered? Well, I just told you how he was murdered. Mulder then asks for details about Morris's death. Scully explains the injuries. Mulder pulls out one of Michelle's dolls, and it matches what Scully described. We need to find out more information about Charlie and speak to his ex-partner. The two agents drive to the partner's house. They knock on the door. A man opens the door just a smidge. Detective Fior, Mulder asks, we are with the FBI. Can we talk? Mulder lifts up a photo of Charlie. Do you know this man? Fior closes and unlocks several locks on his door. He steps onto the porch nervously. I know him. That's Charlie. We were partners on the force. What can you tell us about his death? Mulder explains. That matter is still under investigation, the detective says. No comment. What's this all about? We believe that the death of Detective Barbara is linked to Charlie's murder. Mulder says. We need your help. We need more information. The police report states that Morris was killed while he was not on duty. Detective Fior says it was some kind of payback. For what? Mulder inquires. Fior explains that the police were doing major sweeps around town, that two local games were upset at each other, that they picked any cop in order for the police to back off. Mulder and Scully want to ask Fior some more questions, but he shoos them off, saying, Come find me on Monday at the police station. I'll be working then. It's the weekend. Why would you ask me any more questions? I'm off duty. Not on the clock. Did we just get brushed off? Mulder asks. Did you see when Fior's wife came out? He originally said that his wife was sleeping, but her hands were covered in flour. His wife was never asleep in the first place. We're now at Buffalo Mutual Life in the main office. Detective Fior is talking with another man, and he is freaking out. Fior says they were FBI. They started investigating too much. They're gonna find something. The other man tells Fior to relax. They're just like us. They know nothing. Fior throws the man's jacket on the desk. Let's go to Citibank right now. Fior states. For what? The safety box? What should we do, Fior? Dump it? Fior, there's only gonna be two of us now. That's over $1 million each. Take it all, Fior says. The men continue to fight. We agreed to wait 10 years before touching that money, Fior. We never wanted to see Charlie like that, the man says. We only wanted to scare him. It was just an accident. The man from before walks alone in the dark. He gets on the bus headed for downtown. The bus stops at the bus stop. He gets off and adjusts his scarf. The man starts to walk off when his scarf lifts up and gets caught in the bus's door. Then the driver drives off, and the man starts to run and yell and scream for the driver to open the door. But the driver tries to stop, but something is pushing the accelerating pedal. Hey, open the door, the man screams. He's being dragged at this point. The bus squeals to a halt. The driver rushes out to see if the man is okay. But we see Michelle was riding the bus the whole time and saw the whole thing. Could she be connected to these men in some way? Mulder, Scully, and Michelle's mom are waiting at the police station. They picked her up a few blocks away, Mulder tells the mother. What's going on? Michelle's mom begins to cry. We are unsure, Scully states. All we know is that your daughter has just seen 2 deaths in the past 2 days. She couldn't have done anything, Michelle. It's just a little girl. No one is accusing her of anything, Mulder steps in. Is there anything you haven't told us yet? Scully asks. No, not at all, the mother insists. Why is this happening? Michelle's mother cries out. The brown-haired detective from earlier is there. Can we talk for a minute? Mulder leaves to go speak with her. Remember Leon Fedler, the man who died? He was a cop. Guess who his partner was? Bala. Mulder and Scully are trying to solve this puzzle about the dead officers. Fior is the only one alive. The only connection is the drug bust in Chinatown, Scully says. And a little girl, Mulder adds. They are examining some photos in the office. All the agents need is a break in this case. They discuss it a little bit more. They look at the file and notice that something is missing. Morris's file is missing more information about his homicide. The two agents swiftly go over the file front to back, looking at a log sheet that states that Fior left this afternoon. The two agents return to the detective's home. They knock. His wife answers, looking disheveled in her PJs. Is your husband home, Miss Fior? Scully asks. No, he never came home last night. The two agents enter the home. Mulder looks at the fish tank in the house and the origami animals. Look familiar, Mulder asks. Miss Fior says she never saw her husband and that he never called. Does your husband have anyone that he might go to if he's in trouble? One of the agents say. The wife looks up from the dishes and states, is he in some sort of trouble? Did your husband ever mention Barbara or another detective? Scully asks. The wife shakes her head no. I couldn't help but notice your origami collection, Mulder interjects. Oh, well, that was Charlie's hobby. We find out that Charlie is Miss Fior's first husband. Charlie Morris is Fior's ex-partner. Miss Fior tells the agents that she was waiting for Charlie to come home too 9 years ago. The agents leave. Michelle is 8. She would have been conceived at the time Officer Morris was killed, Mulder tells Scully. Reincarnation, Scully adds. This is all just a coincidence, Mulder. The two agents go back and forth. That doesn't explain how the little girl could kill two men, Scully states. Well, individuals with their past life experience can have psychic abilities, Mulder adds. The two agents have a hypnosis session with Michelle. Her eyes are closed. The prompter asks her a variety of questions like, do you know where you are and how old are you? She says she's at home and it's nighttime. She's 24. Then the little girl shouts, we can't do this. It's wrong. Michelle is panting, I can't trust you. Mulder and Michelle's psychiatrist fight about her safety. They're killing me, the little girl shouts. Scully and Mulder discuss the hypnosis session in the hallway. We almost had it, Mulder says. We'll have to try again. Miss Bishop would never allow that. What do you hope to discover from this, Mulder? He replies, the truth, of course. What really happened to Morris? Scully says, we will find a truth when Fior is found. If we find him, Mulder interrupts, and if he is alive, they fight about Michelle. Mulder says that the little girl is Charlie Morris. Scully says even if that is true, the jury will never buy something like that. FBI headquarters, New York. Mulder writes in the journal about Michelle and her past life regression, therapy, and hypnosis. Mulder is watching the session on a tape. All of a sudden, static zips across the screen. He rewinds it. The static arrives in the same place again. He slows the tape down and sees something. Fior's wife is talking to somebody over the phone at her home. She turns off the lights and heads upstairs. There's a knock on her door, but no one is there. She looks down to see an origami giraffe, the one Charlie, her old husband, needed to make before he died. Back at FBI HQ, Scully and Mulder are working with the agent from before. He's trying to edit and find out what was in the room with Michelle. They're all talking about cleaning up the image. The female officer from earlier comes in saying, I found him. He backed everything up. He faxed me the missing page from the autopsy. The two women, Scully and the woman from before, look at the missing page. Charlie Morris died not because of his wounds. He died by drowning. Mulder believes Morris was drowned before he was shot. Scully explains he could have been killed in a bathtub or a toilet according to the file. Then she reads the file one more time. He was killed in seawater, the agent says. Fior is leaving his car with a huge duffel bag. He came back to his house and for his wife. Anita calls out. She rushes down the stairs. What's going on? Where have you been? Listen, go upstairs and pack a bag, Fior says. I think someone is trying to kill me. The camera pans over and we see a little girl's face peering through the curtains. Back at FBI HQ, the agents are working on cleaning up the photo. The image is revealed to be a little figure in a submarine suit, like what you would put in a fish tank. Mulder stares intensely at it. You said saltwater, right? Charlie was drowned in his own fish tank, Mulder says. This little figure is the last thing he saw before he died. Fior's bag is filled with money. He's packing his wife's bag. She says, Tony, someone left a giraffe on her porch. Do you know who? The lights flash off. Fior goes down to investigate while someone locks the door to the bedroom where his wife is at. Fior creeps down the stairs, hiding in the darkness, his gun drawn. He walks around his living room. A plug held by an invisible hand swings itself onto Fior's legs. The man falls. He can't reach his gun because someone pushed it away. It's Michelle. The two face each other. Mulder and Scully run to the house after hearing a crashing sound. It's locked. Michelle is tantalizing Fior by blowing items up with her mind. Scully finds a way in. The two agents enter. Michelle and Fior are having a standoff in the living room. They said they just wanted to talk. All you had to do was just take the money, Fior yells. Michelle uses her mind to grab a fire poker and swing it at Fior, knocking him down. Scully and Mulder race to the couple's aid. Mulder finds Fior laying on the floor while Michelle flings the vases at him. This won't make things right, Mulder says. Anita is calling for help. She can't get out of the room. Scully finds the key and frees the woman. They both run downstairs towards Mulder. I'm sorry, I knew what they did to Charlie, Fior tells his wife. I was part of it. I couldn't say anything. Michelle looks down on him. She starts to glow blue. Mulder and Scully just watch. The house falls apart because of her. Please don't hurt him, Anita pleads. Michelle breaks the fish tank. Then everything returns to normal. And that's the episode. I thought it was pretty great. Nobody would have guessed that an 8-year-old was possessed or reincarnated by Charlie, a former police officer who was murdered. I And they believed at the beginning that she was just possessed by some sort of spirit. Maybe she did actually have psychokinetic powers, but she was just Charlie. What a weird episode. But thanks for listening, all you truth seekers, abductees, and X-Files enthusiasts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the show. And remember, the truth is out there. You just have to find it. And don't forget to follow my socials at Echoes from the Basement and Instagram too, and now on Tumblr. Have a great day, guys!